The next one is New England clam chowder. And I will have to say, a shout out to Miss Leanne here. Hey, boss lady, I think your soup's the best. And also my friend John, he makes this really good clam chowder that he actually uses halibut in the very end. He'll put a whole piece of halibut and then let it flake out. So I guess it's more of a seafood chowder in the end. But you get these big chunks of halibut in it, and it's delicious.
I mean, again, and this is like the French onion soup as well. I'm giving it an A to an S. I mean, I love a good chowder, but there's again so many ways to make it.
There's such a range,
and it's tough because, like I said, Ironside puts bacon in theirs. The other two places I did were traditional, just straight up chowders with clams and a little bit of potato. That's one thing too that a lot of people really discuss who are like chowder files, as they like to call themselves. Mm-hmm. If you put too much to potato in one of those, it makes it way too thick.
Yeah.
And a lot of places will put too much potato in to save money.
Yeah.
So that's where you get into, like, I worked at places that did not do that, where it had a very nice, consistent, just consistency. I hate to use those words in a row, but it was just nice and easy to go through. And I've eaten the places where it's like, you can just paste all the potato over everything. You're like, so when it's made right, yes. When it's not, I mean, it's like I said, it's a big range on that one.
You're right. And then it also makes a difference if the chef starts it with bacon fat.
Oh, sure.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
That is not kosher at all.
No, it's not kosher, so don't order it. I'm
So,
sorry, Jewish people, we love you, but don't order our
bacon chowder,
please.
So, well, how about an S to a B minus then?
I would go B at least, because the places that have good chowder, everyone goes there for it. The places that don't have good chowder, no one goes there
for it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm cool with that. Then it's evil cousin Manhattan clam chowder.
Oh, don't give Manhattan clam chowder such a evil
reputation.
Okay,
no, it's great. Everyone loves it.
It's waterier. It's just not as thick, but it's still good soup. I give it a B/C.
I give it a B/C as well. I mean, when people like it, they love it, but so few places make it anymore.
You're right.
Like 1 out of every 5 seafood places actually does a Manhattan chowder, where everyone does the New England chowder.
Right. I've had conversations with people about chowder, and they didn't even know the Manhattan chowder existed. So yes, its popularity has waned. And
quite a bit.
The 2 clam chowders.
Mix of the 2 chowders.
I will have to.
Hold on, because you actually jumped over my answer for the Manhattan, because I was going to say D.
Oh, you were going to say D?
I straight up just do not like it. But all right, but I'll go with B and C there too. But mix of the 2 clam chowders, those places that do it, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, that is straight F to me also.
Yeah, flat out.
Yeah,
it's like you just don't mix 2 soups together and say, hey, this will taste great.
Okay.
We already talked about how the thickness is different between the 2 soups, and
the viscosity is very different. Yes, yes. The Manhattan is more. The Manhattan is more like a Chiappino or a bouillabaisse, where it's just a thinner, waterier soup.
Yes. There are other raw-feed, tomatoey soups you can eat out there. You don't
a lot better
in the clam chowder. Manhattan and New England are always scrapping anyway.
Yeah, right. All right. How about corn chowder?
I don't know. I don't have any particular feelings about this one. Like, if
I don't think I've ever even had it.
Incomplete.
Yeah,
incomplete.
It's not something like, ooh, corn chowder. It's like, okay.
I don't know. For a while, I was seeing it on a lot of specials boards, and it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Corn chowder?
Well, because like, if there's a mix of soups that are up, like if there's broccoli cheddar, I'm probably going to get that over to corn chowder.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
All right.
Actually, Josh, isn't corn chowder more of a Midwest thing anyway? Since they didn't have fish, like, we can make corn chowder. We have corn everywhere.
Yeah, I think it is. But I also think like good corn chowder should be made just like New England clam chowder, just without any clam in it.
The couple of times that I did corn chowder as my soup of the day, there was pork in it. And I was basically calling this my Iowa chowder and not the corn chowder. Because what do you have in Iowa? Corn
pigs. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually sounds good. See, that's something there's pork, and let's give that a try.
Corn chowder is probably pretty decent, y'all. We just haven't eaten it very much.
Yeah.
The next one I have is just a really wet mac and cheese.
That's nothing. Why you put that on
That's
there?
just like somebody
You
messes it up and
Are you
just
just
makes it
fucking
too
with
sweet.
me now?
That's when
He's just fucking
growing up, when my older brother, who is not a cook, tried to make the Kraft macaroni and cheese, I think he got confused and put a cup of milk instead of a quarter cup. And yeah, so I could.
So it was a soup. I'll give Kraft mac and cheese like a B just because I like it. I might be just a kid thing from back in the day and all that, but every now and then I crave Kraft macaroni and cheese. I mean, I go down to 7-Eleven and buy a single and make one up after work, and it's like that was pretty good. It's like I think it's more of like a childhood thing to like it than actually like it.
Try to mix in some spicy ramen. Okay,
just
there it was. I was waiting for that.
So
we'll bookmark the mac and cheese episode for another day. But wet mac and cheese is not a soup, and that's the conclusion on that.
All right. Chili, but that's so broad. So the next one I had was actually turkey chili.
And you put that on there because all three of us lived in Park City, right?
And there's a certain ski resort in Park City who,
they would make 120 gallons of turkey chili every day up at Empire Lodge, and then we would make 60 pounds of beef chili, and we would always sell out of the 120 pounds of turkey chili within 2 days, because what's better than doing your snow play and getting a big bowl of chili?
Oh, and the turkey chili was good up there.
Yeah, no, we were good.
I used to actually joke that at Empire Lodge, which is the highest of the 3 lodges at the resort, they should make all the turkey chili up there and then run pneumatic tubes down to the other tube. So you just have a constant flow, like an oil pipeline.
We might have been the highest, but we had the smallest kitchen.
Yeah,
so that wasn't going to work. And I needed those kettles for service at Fireside. What the heck?
But also, really, at Deer Valley, the ticket sales were, of course, their highest generator of income. Number 2 was turkey chili. Number 3 was chocolate chip cookies.
Turkey chili.
And that's,
literally paid for the food cost in the morning for almost all lodges.
I'm going to give that I actually really enjoyed it.
A B.
A B. B plus.
Yeah. Didn't see it as much as you guys did. I'll give it an A because every time I had it, it was fantastic.
Sure.
I saw it every day.
Because I had a lot of the kitchen crews coming down and drinking at Lindsay's, and they would bring me chili. I was like, "Hey, you want some chili? Yeah, here's a beer."
Surprised you didn't sneak in veal and wild mushroom soup on here.
I don't have a lot of stews on this list. And
stews are important too.
Stews are. All right. Next, lentil soup.
Straight lentil. Well, it's never
lentil
straight.
With stuff in it. Yeah, it's really straight.
F. My mom made it all the time for Lent. Mm-hmm. Italian Catholic. Absolutely hate it.
See?
Cannot stand it. Now, I've had good lentil soups since then that are different, but just a straight up lentil soup, absolutely not.
Yeah,
just
it's atmospheric. Up in Glacier National Park, we had this really good red lentil soup, and I would mix in bacon bits with it, and it was delicious. So it's always atmospheric, because I feel like Nick might not have hated it so much if he had like the lentil
in it.
To make it India.
You know what? That's true.
Because that's a lot more flavor.
I was going to introduce a new word to this conversation, lardon. So if you take before you slice bacon, if you just have the pork belly, the slab, you cut it into nice little strips, and you start your lentil soup with rendering the fat out of that, and everything is beautiful.
But I bet Nick's mom didn't do that for Lent.
No. Well, it was supposed to be eaten on Fridays when you're supposed to eat not meat.
Yeah.
I say lentil soup will sit at a C.
A C. And I actually do know a vegan or two who live on lentil soup because it is,
there's other beans that they could eat.
There are other beans.
I mean, I personally really love cooking with cannellini beans, and I make a really good vegan chickpea, potato, and spinach soup that even if you weren't vegan, you'd be like, how did you make this? This is freaking delicious. Yeah. But to each their own.
Next, I've got, and I know this is a range also.
This is controversial.
Curried soups.
Because when we were talking about curry, I was talking earlier this week with a friend. There are so many different curries. This should be a different episode as well. But when you say curried soups, let's just reiterate it to Thai
soup.
Because The Thai curry is more of a soup base compared to the rest of the curries, like the Japanese curry, the Indian curry, the British curry.
Yeah, I worked in
I
worked in a Southern Indian restaurant.
Right.
All the chefs and cooks were from Southern India.
Right.
But when you said curry soups, I'm like, well, yeah, they made soup with curry in it, but it was just like a special or a one-off. It wasn't something that was like daily on the menu.
Exactly.
Right. So
but the Thai curry soup, I like Thai curry soups.
I love Thai curry soup. So
I think they're great.
An S. What do you think, Nick? An A?
I'll go an A.
Hey.
We actually have a really cool Thai place. It's on Coronado. It's like right in almost the residential area, and the ladies from Thailand. And when you go in there, and they have like the flavor or the spice level. When you hit 5, it's really pushing it at 5.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
I like spicy.
San Diego.
Right.
I'm just gonna have to come down to San Diego and like run around and eat with you. You're just making me hungry, man.
People do that to me all the time by posting pictures of food at like midnight. I'm like,
oh yeah,
food when I'm getting off work. Nothing's open.
And you're just like, damn it! Why didn't you bring it to me?
Exactly.
I've got bars with a chalkboard sign saying today's soup, whiskey.
With ice croutons.
That's great. That's good. Yeah, it's that was a great joke back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's good to see it. It's still living on in dad joke world, I guess. I love whiskey.
We love dad joke.
But I mean, it's you have to make sure that they know it's supposed to be a chilled soup and not a soup served warm.
Yeah. Do not simmer that soup.
Yes.
Oh, hot toddies, man. Hot toddies.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I make those a lot at the hotel. People are like, oh, can you make a hot toddy? I'm like, yeah.
It's 72 degrees out. Why do you want to?
Okay, anyway, so now the
people here are weird.
Completely changes to so is hot toddy just whiskey soup?
Well, the components of a hot toddy are, I guess, your base is going to be the whiskey. You're going to have honey in there as well. Usually regular honey or a honey syrup because that dissolves better. Lemon juice and then just hot water. So does that have all the ingredients of a soup?
And then
no.
Yeah, I mean because a mulled cider then.
So it's just like
it's just a hot
mulled
beverage
whiskey.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it, and it's honestly my grandmother, who was Mormon and did not drink, would give us hot toddies as kids when we had a cold because and that they were just great for that.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
And then I recommend them to people, and they get the next day. How you doing? Oh man, I don't feel that good. I'm like, oh, didn't the hot toddy help? Oh, those are great. I had 5 or 6, and I'm like, no, you have 1. You're supposed to have 1.
And now you're hungover.
Really?
Not 5 or 6. So, but yeah, I don't think that's. I agree. It's not really. That's not a soup.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the components of a soup, right?
Nope, does not have the components of a soup.
I just think the chalkboard signs are still clever.
Yeah.
Oh, they're nice.
Love dad jokes.
Yeah, it's a dad joke.
It's a dad joke.
Okay, fine.
Bless your heart.
We'll give you a B-. Next, Italian wedding soup.
I had a really good one when I was a kid. There was this Italian cafe that was walking distance from my house, but I haven't actually seeked out this Italian wedding soup since that restaurant closed. So I think I'm going to have to chalk it up to nostalgia and give it a B, but then since then I haven't really had it.
I'll agree with the B. When you can find it done right, again, it's almost like the French onion soup is fantastic, but if they just kind of threw the ingredients in a pot and served it, you can always tell the difference. Like as soon as they put it down, you can tell the difference. Like this is going to be good. It's like, whatever.
People layer flavors.
And
yes.
And the next thing I have is a zuppa toscana, which to me is very similar.
Yeah.
And just
can you explain a zuppa toscana to me?
No.
Okay, bet.
Okay, well, let's go.
Okay.
So then, lobster bisque.
Yes. You get that nice fresh lobster in there and you're cooking it fresh right there. Like the one place I worked at the Oyster Bar, they had the bases made, but they did the soups right there on the bar in steam kettles.
I'm not the biggest fan of lobster, so I'm going to have to give this an incomplete.
Sure.
When
I think it was my second year at the Mariposa, right at the beginning of the season as we were like making the menu for that year, Clark, the lodge chef, came to me and was like, so you have a good recipe for a lobster bisque, right? Why don't you make some? And just like
walk away.
I feel like that was all of Silver Lake. Like that was your whole time at Silver Lake.
I made that up. And now because we got in live lobsters,
mm-hmm.
and when I steamed them and pulled all the meat out, I did take all the carapaces and make a proper lobster stock in there. And I would also, you know, I'd throw shrimp tails in there, or shrimp tails and all. And so made a good seafood stock, and then added me a like
And then
I did
keep
it right.
in mind that your seafood stock only needs to simmer for about 45 minutes.
It does not need to cook.
Yours chicken stock, unless you're Joshua Hobson. You know,
So yeah, the way they do it at this restaurant was they get the lobster, prep the lobster, put it in the pot, put in the base, you know, the stock, and then they would add. If I remember right, it was either sherry or white wine.
Yeah.
And then turn it up. There's a cool Italian place around here that one of their specials is usually a lobster bisque with squid ink gnocchi.
Oh,
It's a go. I love that dish.
That sounds cool.
Every time I go there, if they have it, it doesn't matter anything else on the menu. I'm definitely getting that. But that's why I give lobster bisque an S. I've always liked it, and when people start playing with it a little bit and add some things to instead of just being a straight up bisque, it's a lot of fun.
All right, matzo ball soup.
never really had it. I've made it as a substitute for a Jewish catering, and I did a pretty good job with that. But that's also because I know how to make chicken stock.
Oh, sure.
But I really didn't have anything to compare it to. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to give that an incomplete.
I feel like at some point along the line, I've made matzo ball soup at home, and maybe you didn't participate in that, but
I have had it once or twice ever, and I wasn't really impressed.
Told you.
Okay.
I kind of found it as kind of like a flavorless broth, more or less.
I've had some.
That's why your stocks are important, y'all.
All right. All right. So then a broccoli cheese soup.
Hell yeah, broccoli cheese. That's nostalgia. Give that.
Yeah.
Right.
Go an S on that one too.
And
You don't see it around much anymore.
No.
I mean, it's another one of those. It's like drinks. It's like another one of those foods that had its time for about 10, 15 years and then just kind of faded away. You know, people are like, oh, cheese isn't healthy, So people don't want to eat cheese soups.
Cheese is delicious.
I know.
And
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Popcorn. Okay, and I'm not sure why I ended on this soup, but the last soup I have on this list is a cream of mushroom.
And that just immediately make me think of Campbell's and
Yep.
casseroles,
That is
Mr. Midwest.
exactly. Actually, in culinary school, I did make an actual from scratch cream of tomato,
Oh, yeah,
cream
same.
of mushroom soup that I ate as a soup. But to me, that's an ingredient in
That was my first thought. As soon as you say cream of mushroom soup, I'm like, every easy, quick meal thing that you read in like magazines and stuff is take a cup of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, add that, and then make your dish with that as part of it.
Right.
So I have a different spin on cream of mushroom, and this is because of Mr. Joshua. I used to make a triple truffle brie galette, and the middle of the filling was pretty much a cream of mushroom from scratch that was full of wild mushrooms and caramelized onions. And the base to that galette was delicious because it had the triple truffle brie in it. And it was creamy.
That sounds like fantastic, but that's the soup I described earlier from Frank's, the cold mushroom truffle chocolates. That's a cream of mushroom soup technically, and that was fantastic. But 99% of the cream of mushroom soups are just.
So here's my thought on cream of mushroom soup as an ingredient: is if it calls for that, learn how to make a bechamel, because what the cream of mushroom is there for is a little bit of salt, maybe, sure, but is as a thickening agent, and the bechamel is what it does. And so replace and make 1 cup of bechamel instead. It's flour, butter, and milk. It does not.
So I think we need to talk about sauces.
It's kind of what I use to make my cream tuna on toast, which is another childhood thing. But
it's super simple. It was really, I guess, the first sauce I learned how to make as a kid was a bechamel, because again, there's all sorts of, you add some cheese to it, and hey, throw that over some pasta, throw that in the oven, you got a baked mac and cheese right there that's going to be better than the Kraft stuff.
How Midwest of you. The first sauce I learned was tomato sauce.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we were going to give that a D-.
I think we could give it an S when done properly, but a D- for 99% of it.
That is quite.
I have to admit, I've had some very, very good cream mushroom soups that are like, again, they're a one-off. I've never seen them since. I haven't seen.
Okay.
Like the dish you described, I want you to make that and send it to me.
All right. Well, we need to actually move on to the next segment here. So we are going to take our last break, but leave us some comments about soups. Where are we wrong here? What are your opinions? Because everyone, if you don't have an opinion about soup, go out and make one. It's not that hard. And then let us know.
I love soup. Tell me about it.
Yeah, soup. Okay, we will be right back.
There's the other soup that starts with a D or something that's horrible.
Oh yeah. Is it called disaster soup?
It should be. It very well should be.
Ooh, disaster soup. Nice.